Yes, 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 yes. Ah.
It's better that you're all smiling then. You're puffing pretty kitty. Oh, we're pretty kitty.
Yeah. You love
You see the camera? You want to smile for the camera?
Yeah, you love Papa. Yes, you love Papa. I love you so much. 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 I love you so much.
Hi, Dad.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes, yes, yes,
Can you
yes,
say
yes.
hi?
Hi, 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 hi.
Say
That's
hi.
why his face all spotted out. What, did you hit him one?
Today is March 3, 1984, and what we want to do today is to have you talk a little bit about your childhood and your life in Europe. Sit back, relax.
Yes.
When were you born?
I was born April the 15th, 1908.
And where was that?
That was called Nagyböcskó. It's in Máramaros, part of Austria-Hungary.
It's right on the border.
It was on the border between Czechoslovakia and Romania.
Now, could you describe your immediate family at the time you were born, your parents, your aunts, uncles, whether you had any brothers, sisters at the time?
Well, I did have, at that time of my life, I was too young to understand as far as having, I didn't have no brothers or sisters. I was the only one.
You were the first child then
I
for
was
your
the
parents.
first child. And the earliest I can remember is when I was about 4 or 5 years old.
Okay, well, at the time you're born, your parents, Morris and Lena,
Yes,
were their parents living?
yes.
And who were they?
My father's parents was Laser, Schwartz, and Bernice Beanie Schwartz. That's my grandmother. He had 2 sisters and 2 brothers.
Okay, and who were his sisters and brothers?
One sister was Margie, and the other sister was Irene. Irene was the youngest one in the family, among the children.
Okay, and your father's brothers?
My father's brother was, my dad was, his name was Morris, the oldest one. Then comes Zoltan. He was the middle one, and Desi was the third one. Oh yes, there was one more. Uncle Max, there was 4 brothers. Uncle Max was younger than Zoli.
And where did Laser and Beanie live?
They lived in a small village called Saint Lazar. They happened to be the only Jewish family in that village.
That was basically a farming community?
It was basically a farmer's community, and being that they owned what they called the stopover between the markets, where they had to drive over to maybe another 2 or 3 hours to the marketplace, and they stopped there overnight. We had what you call a saloon, also provisions, groceries, a little restaurant, and tobacco store, so forth. We were the only store in that village.
Yeah, that would be like an old-fashioned inn.
Right, exactly.
And your mother's family?
My mother's mother's family came from a very Orthodox religious family. We lived in a town. It was a border town. It was right on the border between North Portugal and the other town called Krečenev. Now, Krečenev was mainly 90%, 95% occupied by these Orthodox Jews. It was a small town. They had one big shul, and they also had a little one where the so-called ultra-Orthodox attended. They had two rabbis, of course. And as I remember, I went to regular public school that was in North Portugal, which taught Hungarian. And when I came back from that school, I went to Hebrew school where he taught me how to daven.
Now, did your mother have any sisters or brothers?
Yes. My mother had 9 brothers and 3 sisters.
What do you remember about that?
Well, they were pretty well close-knit family because they all lived close by in that little town.
What was your mother's maiden name?
My mother's name was Lena Bain. My grandfather's name was You want me to keep on talking?
Sure.
All right. And my grandfather's name was Laser Bain, and grandmother's name was Fager Bain. My uncles, as I can recall, of course, was Shmuel, the oldest one. Then comes Beryl. Then was Uncle Hirsch. Then was Uncle LaBear. Then was Uncle Aaron. Then was Uncle Nathan. And I'm trying to think. Of course, with so many children, it's hard to remember all those uncles. And my aunts, of course, my mother. And then she had Ruffle. And Ruffle. My aunt that lived in New York, I forgot her.
That's not
Fanny. Well, I can't recall all those names. Actually, it's hard for me to remember all those names back.
That was over 70 years ago.
And that's right. And of course, I had a lot of cousins, which I'm not even going to begin to recall their names. But the few favorite ones that I do have, that I remember from the old country, was Uncle Hirsch's children, which there was only one left from after the Holocaust. And my cousin Zolte's children, Ernie, he's the only left, which I never heard from him. But I had Heitje and Zelig. Those are the only cousins that were left from the Holocaust. And,
You remember where your parents lived small? Was it in the farm or in the city?
Well, we lived mostly on the farm. It was the village where I was telling you about at first. We had our own street. It was a long, long cottage. We had our own street. Mother naturally helped out to cook and bake because she was part of the family. And this was what was called the village townhouse. Everything was in the place. We had a huge backyard where we used to drive in with the oxen and horses and where and so forth to rest overnight to go to the market the next place. So they had a place where to sleep and back at the barn where they parked their wares. And they used to drink at night in the saloon. And they used to buy provisions to take to the market along. That's all I can remember. We used to have a long outside porch that went all around the house.
Sort of a veranda around.
All around the house.
You know, who lived in your grandfather's house? Was your father, Morris, and his wife, Lena?
And Irene.
Was she married?
No, she was single. She was the youngest one. She did marry after the war broke out. Then she married one of the prisoners of war. That was to be a Polish Jewish fellow. She married the Polish Jewish fellow. He happened to be a prisoner of war. And whether he sent him out to work on a farm or not, that I don't remember. But I do know that he stayed at our home over there. And after the war, my uncle came back from the service, Zoli. He happened to be a captain, a hussar. So when he was discharged, he went ahead and bought a Tonya. A Tonya is equivalent to a ranch. And he sold that business over in town and he moved out and to this ranch where he raised hogs, horses, cattle. We had a lot of vineyards. Besides chicken, ducks, geese, he also had a mill. It was powered by water.
A water wheel?
Water wheel. And they used to bring their wheat and their corn to grind to make into flours. It was poured in between two stones and it grinded and came out the other end. The water kept on constantly running on that wheel. And the wheel was connected to those huge grinding stones where they ground the corn and the wheat and so forth. It came out on the other end where they collected it in sacks.
It's a miller.
Mill.
What do you remember that you liked to do on the farm as a little boy? What was
Well,
your favorite activities?
The activities, I used to enjoy riding the horses. I had quite a few horses, horseback ride over there. And help out, watching the way they brought in the corn and the wheat to have it, to them to have it ground into flour. I used to round out the those barrels were sealed, after they collected I don't know how many barrels, they would dig a hole in the ground, line it with straw on the bottom, and roll those barrels down, cover the barrels with straw, and then cover them with dirt. How long they stayed in there, I don't know, but I do know when they opened up, because they had quite a few of those, what you would call basements dug in, left down holes in it. But each year they opened one up and they took the barrels out of there. And sometimes those barrels were so molded, so badly molded, that it was made out of wood, and they had wood rings around them to hold the barrel tight, and they would bust. But the skin from the wine got so thick around the barrel that it remained intact. Then they would build another barrel, put the skin into it and seal it. And after that, when you wanted to open up the barrel, you'd have a spigot, like the old spigot they have.
Yeah.
You'd stand the barrel up on the side and put the spigot in that, then the wine would come out.
So as a little boy, did you get to taste the wine?
Oh yes, I did. And it didn't take much and I got drunk from it. The wine was very potent.
You remember if there was any education that you went through at the farm, what the schools were like in the farm community?
Well, the only education I remember getting was when I was with my grandfolks in not Portugal, but I attended the same school as my mother and my uncles did, Hungarian school.
That was in the U.S. city.
That was in Marmaris.
Yeah, but that was not on the farm.
On the farm, the only education I had was on a Friday when the rabbi came over to kill the ducks and chickens and so on. He had, the sheriff came over to kill the chickens and ducks the rest of the week.
So you had
A tutor.
What's a tutor? Is that a kosher shochet?
A kosher shochet, sure. He was also taught me how to talk.
Okay, and he would come over on Friday, and did he travel around the community, and he would just be in your town on Fridays?
Well, we were just around that. We were the only Jews on that farm, and when we were in the village, there was no other Jews. And after we sold that the village store that we had over there, then we had nothing to do no more, and we lived on the farm,
Or were you?
on the plain.
Okay, so there's the shochet, when he came by, did he travel from place to place, or was he just living in that area all the time?
He just traveled. He just came and over that one day and went back. It was about 20 miles away. There was a little town where he had a shul and a rabbi. That's where we went for the holidays. But we had to go there and stay all night because it was more than a day's travel to go both ways. Don't forget those days it was by horse and wagon and by oxen drawn horses and so forth. You took a horse to go there and hours to come back. So during the holiday, we stood at a hotel over there or a boarding house where he had. And after the holiday, we came back to the Tanya, to the ranch.
Were there many Jews that lived out in the farms and had to, in effect, travel into the village for the holidays?
That I couldn't tell you. That I don't know. All
So-
I know is the one that we lived there.
What do you remember about what the rabbi used to teach you when he would come?
He would come, the olive base, and the most essential things that I should remember. Of course, I also had part of the education when I was in Kretschmer, where I had to go to Hebrew school right after I went to Yale school. So I had part of education there. And over there, the rabbis had to sit with all, maybe a dozen or so more kids around. And we all had to have our lessons ready. If we did not, we got hit over with a switch.
Well, it was pretty much the same when I went to the theater, so
Yeah.
it didn't change much.
It was pretty switchy, and I better had to memorize it in order not to get licked. So part of that remained with me when I went over to live in St. Lazar, especially when I went on the farm, on the Tonya. It was the farm, it was a Tonya, it's a ranch like. You know, like you see Dallas, they drive over to that big house ranch like that.
Oh, yeah.
That's how it was where my uncle,
Laser.
not Laser, but
Zoltan?
Zoltan. He's the one who actually ran it. His wife was a redhead. She had a little boy. That was the only boy that was left after the Holocaust. What happened to him, I don't know. We got to one letter we got from him, and that was it. When, after the war. But after that, we never knew what happened to him.
Now, what did your grandfather do
My grandfather,
on the farm? The one on the farm.
on a farm, well, he tried to keep busy. There was a lot of, being that it was a ton, like a ranch, you could find something to do. You would go around and see that tend to chickens, poultry, geese, dogs, chickens, and he saw that it helped on the right thing. He saw a supervisor, assistant supervisor, he went around.
I mean, the assistant supervisor, your Uncle Zoltan was the big boss?
I guess he was the big boss. And he went around to see that it helped on the thing that he's supposed to. My grandfather did.
At that time, your folks had already moved to the United States.
My folks moved to the United States before I was 4 years old. I was 3 years old when my folks moved to the United States. My dad came first, and then my mother's brother, two of them went.
You remember which ones?
Well, let's see. First was Aaron, then David, and then Sam. That's my mother's side.
What about Nathan?
Yeah, Uncle Nathan came in there too. Uncle Nathan. And Dave. And my father's side was also, he had a brother Sam and Deja, the younger brother, Dave.
Right.
So it happened so that we all rented a huge 6 or 8 bedroom apartment, flat. And they needed somebody to run the place. It was a boarding house place.
No, that was in the United States?
That was in Chicago. That was when my mother they sent my mother a ticket to bring me over to Chicago. When I was 3 years old. Well, on the way, I took sick. When we came to board the ship, the doctor would not let me board the ship. I was too sick. So she had to turn around and take me back to my grandmother. That's not what's good. It's a Kretschmer, the religious part of the family. cancel the ticket. She had so much time to use on that boat ticket, train ticket, wherever she had to go. So when the doctor said that I couldn't very well travel for some length of time, so she decided to leave me with my grandmother. And she came out from the United States, in order to take care of the business.
That was around 1912.
1912.
You were
And
4 years old then.
Yeah. She became what you call a boarding house. Then Rosie Rosenthal came out here. Anyway, she had about 8 to 10 boarders. The family.
Oh, well.
And she used to feed them, and they used to pay so much. And they used to live there and eat and everything. That's why she had to come over. And after a while, of course, when the place got, when outsiders started to come in, so they opened up a restaurant on the 2nd floor. We lived on the 3rd floor. We used up on the 2nd floor. On the 2nd floor, they moved on to the 1st floor, and they had a whole big restaurant. Of course, I wasn't here then. And during the war,
You're talking about
before
which
the war,
Which
before
war?
the First World War, and 1913, or a year or two later, my mother's brother, Erwin, who was the first one to come out to the United States, he came out to visit the folks. Also with the intention that on the way back, he'd take me home with him, Uncle Erwin.
What's the first thing you remember about your time in Nogi-Bochco? Originally, when you were born, you were raised on the farm with your father's family.
Yes.
And then apparently your father came to the United States.
And my mother went over to be with her mother.
Okay, and you went with your mother at that time.
And it was our time to Nogi-Bochco,
And how old were you then? About 3?
maybe 2, 3, I don't remember.
And so you stayed with your mother in her parents' home?
At her parents' home, because I was going to travel from there to the United States.
That was in the name of your mother's parents, Laser and...
Laser and
Bay.
Bay. See, when my father left, he left from this, from St. Lazar. He left to come to the United States. And when he left, mother came over to her mother. My mother came over to my grandmother to stay for a while until he was sending tickets for us to come.
Let's take a break for about 2 minutes now. I hear the baby crying. Papa, just a couple minutes ago, we were talking about being in Nogi-Bochco with your mother. That's after your father had left for the United States.
Yes. And also, mother was pregnant. And she had another little boy, but he died in infancy.
That was the baby brother of yours.
Yeah, that's the younger one. He died in infancy. And it happened over at my grandmother's, Nogi-Bochco.
Okay, now, can you describe what your grandfather's house in Nogi-Bochco was like?
Which one?
Your grandfather, Nogi-Bochco.
Nogi-Bochco? Well, it was one huge room, big one. And they had also another little house in the back. Well, the little house in the back could have been as big as a 2 or 3 car garage. But the house in the front was big. And it was only one room.